Hi there, I'm Ken Lammers. Welcome to Minor League Matters. And today we're going to talk about a factor that makes it hard for soccer to get traction in the United States. And that's going to be the flops. And with that, let's get cracking. Okay, so I'm an American fan of American sports, right? And I have come to soccer later. But even before I came to soccer, soccer was viewed by a lot of people I know. Well, soccer is viewed poorly by a lot of people I know. It's the British sport, the European sport, the sport they've been trying to force upon us for the last 20 years, et cetera, et cetera. But it's still a good sport, and you can really see some good matches, and it's fun. It really is fun to be there at the stadium, as close to the pitch as you can get, or higher up where you can watch the whole flow of the match. It's a fun sport to watch. But, you know, I as an American grew up watching football, watching baseball, watching hockey, and watching basketball. Now, of those four sports, football's entire point seems to be, on some points, just to crush into each other and see if you can kill somebody, right? And if football's point is that, hockey is about as close to ultraviolence as you can get. You know, the greatest place to be in a hockey match is up on the glass and watching guys get smashed into the glass right in front of you. 4 or 5, 6 of them smashed into the glass, fighting for the puck. You know, it's just amazing. I mean, hockey is one of those sports where you purposely put somebody into the glass head first, and it's a 5-minute penalty. That's it, 5-minute penalty, right? So I can tell you a little bit about hockey. And then there's baseball. And anybody who's been around baseball should not be a sport where there's a whole lot of physicality and contact and everything. Baseball has a tradition of fights, both teams coming out and fighting each other. They have a tradition of guys charging the mound because the pitcher threw the ball at them. They have a tradition of baseballs being thrown at people who are batting because something was done to somebody on the pitcher's team, or because somebody had thrown a ball and hit a member of the pitcher's team. In the United States, now this has caused problems in international play. If the batter hits the ball or hits a home run or something, and as he goes up the first base line, he flips the bat, doesn't just drop it, he flips it, that's considered an insult to the pitcher, and that can start a fight, right? So that's there. Basketball's been the one that doesn't really see many fights. I mean, not near as many. And basketball had a flop problem. It had a problem where if anybody charged towards the basket, somebody would jump in front of him and fall on the ground and act like he'd been run over, trying to get a penalty. And this became so bad and was so made fun of that eventually the NBA, the National Basketball, they made a line on the ground behind which nobody could stand and try to block the player with the ball or block his access to the basket. So this, was basically meant to stop the flop, right? So, and you don't see it nearly as much as you used to in basketball. If somebody bumps into somebody, they don't fall over backwards and slide 5 feet down the floor anymore like they used to. So then you move to soccer in the United States, and there's not a stop the flop thing in soccer. Before I even started watching soccer, I knew, just like every other American does, its reputation for flops. And as a matter of fact, there's a fairly famous ESPN ESPN commercial in which they go exactly through this. And I'm going to play it right here.
We've been watching a lot of soccer at the office lately. Seems to be causing a rise in workplace injuries.
Setting up a goal, that's just brilliant. I just love the...
Oh! Oh, my ankle!
Oh! Oh! Oh, I won't work for weeks.
John, get up.
Oh, my ankle.
He's fine.
Oh, no! My ankle! Oh.
So that was, a while back in the past when they did that, obviously, and it was pretty much when women were really queens of the hill in soccer, which again they are, since they're still playing and the men aren't. Okay, so you got that, right? And anybody who goes to a match, particularly a men's match, this is actually pretty interesting. Watching women play soccer on, on video, the women's championship and all this sort of stuff, there wasn't a whole lot of flopping. There were a couple where one team tried a couple times, and when they realized the ref ain't going to call any of that silliness, they just got up and played. And mainly, if you got plowed into and you went down and you weren't injured, you got back up and played, right? This is, I don't know what it is that makes women man up better in a soccer match than men do, but they do. You see less flops. You see people, when they go down, they get up and they just keep playing. And most of the time when you see a woman, or at least these are the matches I've watched, most of the time when I've seen a woman go down in a match and stay down, she's actually hurt. So this makes women's soccer much, much, much more fun to watch than men's, right? And of course, in the men's soccer, good gravy, man. Okay, one of the reasons I actually started liking the Premier League, when I started sampling European leagues to see what I would like to watch, is I watched about 5 minutes of some match. I couldn't even tell you who it was now. And some guy flopped, and the ref came over and laughed at him and told him to get up, and just kept running, and they kept playing. And the announcers pretty much laughed at him too. That made me much, much more impressed by the Premier League. Now, still watching it, I see a lot of flops. A lot of people just fall to the ground when they get bumped, right? And stay down. And certain things like, I watched Lou City play this weekend against the Bethlehem Steel. And as you'll see in this picture here, there's a guy down, and they are arguing with the ref that there should be a red card. I mean, because obviously their player is permanently injured, and it was a terribly dangerous act. And oh my God, this guy's never going to walk again. He'd be lucky if he's able to breathe at the end of the day, at the end of the match. Of course, when you're trying to sell that, it works better if somebody's actually paying attention to the guy on the ground and acting like he's really hurt, which he wasn't. He got up and he kept going. Just like 99% of them, they get up, they hobble 3 steps, and then when they think everybody's stopped looking at them, they take off at full speed, no injury, no nothing, right? This is a problem, and I got to admit, I don't see a cure for this. The soccer is going to keep going this way, unless, of course, the refs just don't call stuff, or if they call a lot more penalties for flopping, for faking. And they won't do that either. It's a taught thing, just like when basketball had flops. It was a taught thing. You got taught to flop in basketball. You are taught to flop in soccer. Or if you're not taught to do it, you pick it up because you see it happening so often. Unfortunately, I don't see a cure for this. I mean, other than going and watching women's soccer because the women don't do it, I don't see a cure for it in men's soccer. And it's just something that sadly is there. And if you're going to watch soccer, you just got to accept that you're going to see flops. Okay, so if you like this video, hit like. If you like what you see around here generally, subscribe. And if you want to, leave comments down below. I promise I'll read them. I cannot promise any answers because I got a day job, as I always say. And with that, I just got one last thing to say. go watch some minor league sports. Bye now.